Good evening, and thank you for joining the National Foundation to End Child Abuse and Neglect's Louder Than Silence, No Dinner, Dinner. I'm Ed Greene, your host for the evening. First and foremost, we appreciate you being with us and joining us in being part of the change. EndCAN is mindful and respects the various stay-at-home orders and distancing guidelines that we've all faced given the coronavirus. Now, we hope that all of you joining us tonight are healthy and well. Now, if COVID-19 has impacted your family, you have our prayers for strength during what undoubtedly has been a very difficult time. While social distancing is what we are called upon to do, we very much are aware of the need for social connection during this time of physical distancing. Lori Poland, Dr. Krugman, and I together are following Colorado's safer at-home orders in a community where small gatherings are allowed. We respect and honor the need for public safety and health awareness, so all our crew is wearing masks and staying that safe 6 feet apart. We know that not everyone with us tonight has this ability, and we're fortunate to be together. We want to take a moment to thank our sponsors for their support and contributions in making tonight possible. Our platinum sponsor, the 5 Krugman families. Gold sponsors including Brady Priest, the University of Colorado School of Medicine, Departments of Pediatrics and Radiology. And our silver sponsors include Children's Hospital Colorado, Julian Dwight Clasby, Susan Ellis, Fortnight Collective, Billy G. Hudson, Mary Rossick Kern and Jerome Kern, and thank you so much, Jerry. The Deborah Lappin Fund, Montgomery Media Solutions, the CU School of Medicine, Department of Medicine, Tom Wolfe, and many individual sponsors. Thank you so much. You can join them by being part of the change by checking out EndCAN's Be the Change website. Take the pledge. Share your story, spread the word, and sign up to receive EndCAN's newsletter. And of course, you can donate. Tonight is about building awareness and community. This work only happens with the voices and support of each of you. We believe that building a community of connection, of inclusivity, togetherness, and support will create the needed shift to truly begin ending child abuse and neglect. We invite you to learn about EndCAN's work, hear from some of our friends and community, and ask questions that may help you better understand the importance of this work. For those of you with questions for Dr. Krugman or Lori Poland, please text them to the number on your screen, and that number is 720-682-7996. They'll be answering as many questions as time allows at the end of this program, and will address any unanswered ones in future communications. Ultimately, we're here to join together in being louder than silence. We will be the change that is so desperately needed for child abuse, which has seen little change over the last 50 years. Throughout the program, we will have some special messages for Lori, Dick, and all survivors, like these from Mia Hamm and Tay Diggs.
Hey Lori, it's Mia Hamm here. I just wanted to say congratulations to you and your co-founder Dick on your nonprofit EndCAN to help end child abuse and neglect. Thank you for giving a voice to the voiceless and helping be louder than the silence. Congratulations and continued success on such important work. Take care.
Hey, what's happening? Tay Diggs here. Taking a moment to just remind you that the National Foundation to End Child Abuse and Neglect is focused on ending abuse for all, helping people be louder than silence, and work together to be the change. Survivors uniting their voices, showing, thriving, and transcending is possible. EndCAN.org. So big ups, support. Peace.
Thanks, Mia and Tay. And now I'd like to introduce widely recognized child abuse expert, co-founder and board chair of the National Foundation to End Child Abuse and Neglect, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Richard Krugman. Yeah.
Thanks, Ed. Welcome, everyone. We chose this date, April 30th, because today we wrap up April and Child Abuse Prevention Month. Child abuse, on the other hand, is an everyday, all year long need if we're going to prevent it. In the 50 years I've been a physician, I've seen nearly every one of the diseases and conditions that afflicted children and adults improve dramatically, whether it was polio, meningitis, cystic fibrosis, juvenile diabetes, congenital heart disease, or cancer. All of this has happened because the parents, relatives, and friends of individuals with these conditions banded together, started a not-for-profit organization to lobby for more funding for research, training, prevention, and advocacy. As a result, over my 50 years, billions of dollars has been raised and appropriated over the last decades to improve the outcomes of all of these diseases. Child abuse and neglect has had neither the advocacy group nor the funding to address it as the health, mental health, and public health problem it is. Simply talking about abuse and neglect will be the start to that conversation shift. We know it is a difficult topic for everyone, and it's not easy work. However, we recognize that if we start with accepting how trying and challenging it is to raise children, we may get somewhere. Henry Kemp was known to say that abusive parents love their children very much, but not very well. It's our job to teach them how to do that better. So tonight, we want to begin the conversation. We've invited Debbie Scheer, a humorist, MC, professional speaker, and auctioneer, whose mix of heart and humor aims to liven up any event. Debbie believes in working with causes close to her heart, and much of her work is in support of nonprofits, schools, and other groups in the service of their members. EndCAN can't thank her enough for being part of our event tonight.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the National Foundation to End Child Abuse and Neglect and the No Dinner Dinner. We are so happy that you chose to be with us tonight, but let's be honest, where else could you be? Nowhere. We are all stuck, so we're glad that you're tuning in. My name is Debbie Scheer. I'm a humorist, a speaker, an MC, an auctioneer, but most importantly, I'm single mama to 2 young guys, which really means, if I'm being truthful, that I identify as primarily tired. I would actually just lie down here and use my time to take a nap, but that would be rude, and I don't want to be rude. So here we are. Why humor? Why are we using humor when we're talking about really big things? Well, I believe that humor allows us to elevate an experience, and humor allows us to connect with each other, which as social creatures, we all need, and we need it now more than ever. So, truth-telling. I'm going to be honest with you and say that when I recently got the news that we all needed to participate in this kind of self-identified quarantine, I was truly the most excited I've ever been. Why? Because I'm an introvert by nature. And so when you talk to all the introverts, we were thinking we were going to live our best lives. In my head, I had envisioned bubble baths, reading, writing, sitting outside and enjoying the peace and quiet. I forgot one small detail, but I was reminded of that when Denver Public Schools sent an email, a voicemail, and a text message with these words: "We are letting you know that Denver Public Schools is going on an extended spring break," which meant 3 whole weeks with our children at home with nowhere to go because the city had shut down. Now, let me be clear. I am a woman experiencing perimenopause. I have a child who is 12 and a half, who is in the throes of puberty. Do you see where this is going? I also have a 9-year-old. My 12 and a half spends every waking moment being annoyed and disgusted with everything I do. The way I breathe, the way I talk, the way I chew my food and drink water, the way I drive him to his friend's house is problematic. The way I buy his groceries at Costco, because I did say he's a preteen, all of that. And then I'm over here just looking at him and saying in my inside voice, am I the only one who smells that? What's happening? I'm over here listening to him use 15 to 20 minutes of hot water, yet coming out of the shower completely dry. I'm not exactly sure maybe I am sure of what's going on, but how do you do that? How do you take a shower and never once wash yourself? Or you come out dry? I don't understand. So we're in this interesting dynamic during our quarantine, which feels somewhat like the Hunger Games, if I'm being really honest. And then I have a 9-year-old. And his love language, thank goodness, is physical touch. And he loves to be with me. And he doesn't care how I chew my food. But he's the one, and if you have more than one kid, you probably have one like this, where he'll say something and you pause because you know something else is coming. And the other night I was making dinner, I was chopping vegetables, and he was in the restroom, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, I hear this. Well, I guess that was too much toilet paper. And I paused. And I've learned over the years to just wait for it because something else is coming. And that something else was him then exclaiming from the bathroom, I guess I needed to take my pants off anyways. Who knows? Who knows what happened in there? Who knows what's happening with that child? So here's a question that I'm going to pose to everybody. I've been posing this question for years. I've never had anyone actually answer it. But if you know the answer, contact me and let me know. Here's the question. Why is it that a young child can open a cabinet, lift a toilet seat, turn on a light, open a drawer, open the refrigerator, and somehow, within the 4 seconds between them having to reverse that action, they lose all muscle control and strength. And they can't put the toilet seat down. And they can't turn off the light. And they can't do any of those things. If you know the answer, please let us know. It's a mystery in our house. We don't understand it. Nobody understands it. It has just confused us for years. So, as I mentioned, I have 2 young boys. They're both adopted. I love adoption. I have adopted twice. I'm an adoptive, an adult adoptee. I have 2 adoptive siblings, and I'm getting ready to adopt a 3rd, which is so exciting. Not an infant. Did that. No more. No more infants. No more toddlers. No more teenagers. No more teenagers. I'm adopting an 85-year-old man. And for those of us who are helping with our parents, that's exactly what it's like. And I'm going to tell you, all those years when my mom would look at me and say, just you wait, just you wait, just you wait. I thought she meant just you wait until I had my own kids. Oh, no. She meant just you wait until you have to raise your father and I and help out. That's what she meant, and here we are. But I'm ready for it because the things my dad's doing are very similar to what my kids did as toddlers. 1, when I suggest he makes proper food choices, he yells at me. You're not the boss of me. Leave me alone. 2, he's a little wobbly on his feet. He uses a walker. I'm ready for it. And 3, he sometimes chooses, but most often not, to wear pants. And I know all about that with toddlers. In fact, recently, I heard my dad shuffling down the hallway with his walker, and I came out to see what was going on, and he had a shirt on but was pantless. And I said, whoa there, cowboy, what's happening right now? And he said, somebody just rang the door and I'm expecting a package. And I paused and I said, Dad, dearest, wonderful, lovely Father, I can guarantee you with 100% certainty, whoever is on the other side of that door delivering a package in no way, shape, or form wants to see your package. So you need to hustle on back and get some pants on. So again, thank you for being here. Parenting is intense. We love it, but it is so intense. So please try and infuse those moments with as much humor as you can and enjoy the No Dinner Dinner. Thank you so much.
Wow, Debbie. And I am wearing pants, by the way. But it's fun to laugh together, isn't it? Again, many thanks to Debbie Scheer. And you can find Debbie at DebbieScheerSpeaks.com. Our next speaker this evening is EndCAN co-founder Lori Poland, who certainly keeps us driving in the direction of change through her motivation and leadership. She's all heart when it comes to wanting to end child abuse and neglect. As an abuse survivor herself, Lori leads with her voice, sharing that child abuse affects us all and has a lasting impact on everything it comes in contact with. She invites others to join her, stand with her, and help end child abuse and neglect. So it's now my pleasure to introduce Lori Poland.
Thank you, Ed, and thank you all for being here. Like so many of you joining us tonight, I am a survivor of child abuse. My abuse took place in 1983 when I was abducted from my front yard at the age of 3. I was taken by a 21-year-old man who himself had been abused as a small child. He took me to the mountains, and after abusing me, he left me in the bottom of an outhouse toilet 15 feet below ground. 3.5 days later, I was found by bird watchers and reunited with my family. My journey to healing and breaking the silence began as I identified my abductor. I then met Dr. Krugman while receiving support, and we stayed in touch for 37 years. And then 2 years ago, we decided to launch EndCAN. EndCAN is focusing right now on 2 primary platforms. The first is to bring together organizations that work with children and families across all sectors of health, the legal communities, child welfare, service providers, and families, as we know that rising tides raise all ships, and it will take everyone working together to be the change necessary to end child abuse and neglect. Our second area of focus is near and dear to my heart, and that is uniting the voices of those affected by child abuse and neglect. As so many of us know, our stories hit each one of us very differently. Each story is unique. Each detail is different, and yet it's so similar in its lifelong impacts on our health, our relationships, our families, our communities, and the way we live as a whole. As Dick stated earlier, we have seen so many other issues improve in this last 50 years because there was a place and a community for those who've been impacted to come together, unite their voices, gain an understanding, ask for the needed research, education, prevention, and advocacy, ultimately causing major shifts for that issue. We need the same thing for child abuse and neglect. We need to unite my voice, your voices, the voices of all of us, so that we can be the change. I welcome each of you to join us in this effort, as it is going to take every single one of us to be louder than silence. We have made some beautiful videos by joining up with one of our board members, Andy Nathan, and his marketing firm, Fortnite Collective. I want to share this one called Louder Than Silence with you. I love that video. It gives me chills every time I watch it. I often use the developmental experience of surviving abuse as victim, survivor, thriver, and then transcender. EndCAN is a close partner with ASPCC, the American Society for Positive Care of Children. Together, along with their founder and EndCAN board member, Eric Henningsen, we have created a way to honor survivors, and I'd like to introduce you to our first ever recipient of the J.E. Henningsen Award, Louder Than Silence, Heather Robinson. Heather is a woman who in this last year took her own experiences with abuse, spoke out about them, empowered others, has written a screenplay, and has truly become a voice for so many of us. Heather is a symbol of a united voice and being louder than silence. She has modeled courage, grace, integrity, spirit, and strength, and I am so honored to have met her. I am thankful for Heather, and you are most deserving of this award.
Thank you, Lori, and thank you, EndCAN, for such an incredible honor. I have to say, my elementary school teacher, Mrs. Spohr, would often write in the comments section of my report card, Heather is a social butterfly, and we can clearly hear her from the back of the room. So maybe she was onto something there, but either way, I am truly honored to receive the Louder Than Silence Award. I've known about Lori for most of my life. At 5 years old, I had an incident take place with the same person who kidnapped Lori. Because of Lori's ability to correctly identify her kidnapper and her bravery in doing so, she brought a 5-year-old closure. Now, at 5 years old, did I understand what closure meant? Absolutely not. But I can guarantee you as an adult, I understand better than ever how important that closure was. I wanted to reach out to Lori for years, but I never really knew how, and quite honestly, I didn't want to. I didn't want to acknowledge my past. I didn't want to talk about it. The past was in the past. That's how I saw it. 2 years ago, my husband and I were in Denver for his terminal blood cancer treatment. One day we were at his chemo appointment, and I started to receive text messages and phone calls from people that I had grown up with that knew about my story. Did you see the Lori Poland interview? Did you watch it? What do you think? These were all questions that were coming at me, and quite honestly, I didn't have the time for it. I even reached out to somebody very close to me, and their comment back to me was, it's nobody's business, and this is very personal, which I agreed with 100%. It was nobody's business. It is very personal, and this is the last thing I needed to deal with. I'm in the fight for my husband's life. But I sat with that for a while, and it didn't feel right. I talked to my husband, I talked to my mom, and ultimately I decided to reach out to Lori. Now, there might be several people that are not in the area or the place where Lori and I are. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to acknowledge it, and that's okay. There are people that may never, ever want to even hint at the fact that something happened to them when they were whatever in their past, and that's okay. But what's not okay is to feel alone. And that's so important to know that EndCAN is a safe place for you to go. Will you ruffle some feathers by talking about it? Probably. But that's on them. That's not on you. And that's something that I had to deal with. There are people that are angry because I am choosing to speak out or to be louder than silence. And that's them. That's all on them. That is not my responsibility. And it's not your responsibility either. So at the end of the day, please know that EndCAN is a safe place for you to go, no matter what level you want to participate, or if you even want to participate at all. I am truly grateful for Lori, for EndCAN, for the entire community, and I wish you all nothing but the best, especially given these crazy times that we're in. Thank you so much again, and I look forward to seeing you and talking with you soon. Bye.
Well, Heather, congratulations again to you for being louder than silence. As we've seen in Heather's story, EndCAN has pulled together voices throughout the country. Here are some more words of encouragement, these from Lolo Jones and Carney Wilson.
Hello, EndCAN. This is Lolo Jones, Summer and Winter Olympian. Millions grew up experiencing abuse and neglect as children. More often than not, these survivors broke the cycle and are thriving. The National Foundation to End Child Abuse and Neglect invites you to be louder than silence, unite voices, and be the change.
It's Carney Wilson here, supporting EndCAN, National Foundation to End Child Abuse and Neglect. I know you're building a community and you're giving a voice to the voiceless. I could not support a group more, a message more than that. Any abuse is unacceptable, and child abuse is the unthinkable. So I am supporting you guys, putting all my prayers together, and we will do this together, and we can be the change that is needed. So endcan.org, that's where we go to support, and I'm here for it. Thank you guys for the work you do. Be well. Stay healthy, everybody.
And thank you. Great words to hear. People often ask how they can help. Well, one step one of us can make is to take the pledge. Nothing financial, just visit the endcan.org website. Click on the change and take the pledge to help us end child abuse and neglect. We'd like to see, how about 10,000 people join with us? So please share this link with your friends and family. Another remarkable person who's become louder than silence has taken the pledge is Meredith Garofalo. Meredith is a network television meteorologist. Gee, that's something I know a little bit about. She wanted to send a message of hope and courage to others affected, recognizing that everyone's story is different, but they can all rally together to be the change.
My name is Meredith Garofalo. I'm a broadcast meteorologist for a national TV network. Like so many of you, I'm also a victim of verbal and emotional abuse. I'll be honest, saying it out loud has been one of the hardest things I've learned to do over the years. When we are going through abuse, we look for ways to just survive, to get through the daily pain, because it's something we feel we have to hide from others. There's the fear that if we do decide to speak up, we'll be punished, judged, or even shunned by those around us. And so, for so many years, we take the abuse and silently allow ourselves to think that we did something wrong or we deserved it. For many of us, our stories remain unheard for decades, only known by us, the abusers, and the witnesses to it who choose not to speak up and stop it and prevent it from happening again. And all of that, it's not okay. The abuse becomes a part of our lives. It affects the way we interact with others, especially those closest to us, and the way we think of ourselves as a whole. But it does not define who we are, or should be allowed to trap us in what might seem like a never-ending cycle. Although what happened to us will always remain a part of our past, it does not have to be the deciding factor of our future. We need to heal, we need to forgive, and we need to move forward together to make the absolute best of our lives that we were meant to live without holding anything back. Child abuse needs to be more of a conversation, because whether you were abused physically, emotionally, mentally, or sexually, it's not okay. We need to stand strong together, support each other, and work to end abuse during our life cycle, whether it's in our lives or others around us. Like any other movement, it will take work, tears, emotions, and at times, lack of support. But if we vow to help ourselves and future generations, we can raise more awareness and make change happen that can create a future legacy for our communities. It starts right now with us, so let's be the positive difference that will last a lifetime and beyond. We are strong, we are beautiful, and more than we can ever imagine. Be unstoppable and everything you want to be.
My comrade in weather. How nice to hear from her. Meredith, thanks. That was both moving and powerful. A true example of how we can all work together to end child abuse and neglect. I want to remind everyone at home with questions for Dr. Krugman or Lori to please text them to the number on your screen, and that number is 720-682-7996. They'll be answering as many questions as time allows at the end of this program, and then we'll address remaining questions in future communications. Be sure to sign up for the newsletter as well. We now want to bring in one of EndCAN's board members, Reggie Bika. Reggie is Executive Director of Shine Early Learning, a social worker, administrator, educator, and leader. He has experience working on child welfare, education, employment, and healthcare issues at the county, state, and national levels. Reggie has spent decades fighting for children, and tonight has more on what it takes to keep kids safe and how you can join EndCAN and be part of the change to end child abuse and neglect.
Thank you, Ed, and we appreciate you taking the time to host our live stream event this evening. Good evening. I started my career as a child protective services social worker several years ago, but I learned many lessons from the families I served and of what it really takes to keep kids safe from abuse and neglect. Among these lessons was that it takes the whole community to truly keep kids safe. Think about it. My job as a child protection worker didn't begin until after a child had been harmed or was suspected to have experienced abuse and neglect. Parents need to know that their whole community is there to support them as they care and nurture their children. And kids need to know that they're safe and cared for in their home and in their world. And lastly, I learned that we're all survivors in one way or another of child abuse and neglect. At EndCAN, we're uniting survivors in our initiative, Be the Change. It's what we can do together. Go to our website at endcan.org, select the Be the Change tab, and sign the pledge. You can share your experience if you'd like. To truly end child abuse and neglect, it will take each of us speaking out, volunteering, donating money or time. As a matter of fact, in the spring of next year, 2021, we will be sponsoring our first multi-city march throughout the country. Let us know if you'd like to volunteer to bring a march to your community. Be the change. Help us to become louder than silence. If you know of an organization that we should be familiar with, please contact us. We're building a network of partners to share in this vital effort and to make some noise collectively to end child abuse and neglect. We're even hitting the internet through a new podcast. Know of a great guest for us to feature? Tell us who they are. It's all our job to be the change. Share your network, stir your community, send some money. Do what you can do to be the change to end child abuse and neglect. Need to know more? Go to our website, endcan.org, or send us an email at bethechange@endcan.org. We are so excited to hear from you because together we can become louder than silence. Now, I'm pleased to introduce our new video, We Are All Survivors. Take a look.
The world is full of proud survivors. If you survived cancer, you're open about it. You donate, you advocate, you fundraise. For those who have overcome addiction, we help them celebrate the anniversary of their sobriety. But there's one instance where the survivors keep it quiet, where its effect touches anyone and everything around it, causing more pain. Where pride is replaced by shame. It's child abuse and neglect. For those who have suffered abuse, it's uncomfortable, it's embarrassing, and it's too rarely talked about. But these people are not victims. They are survivors. Once you embrace it, you realize you are not alone. We are all survivors. The parent who blames herself for not stopping it. The next-door neighbor who beats himself up for not noticing. The community that is impacted. They are also survivors. We are all survivors because we made it this far. So as survivors, let's not bury it. Let's embrace it. Let's go from hiding our shame to defying it. From standing in the shadow to stepping into the daylight. Because when it comes to child abuse and neglect, none of us are alone. None of us are at fault. We are all touched by it. We are all affected. We are all survivors. Our voices will end the silence. Your dollars will end the abuse.
We are indeed all survivors, and we all can help in one way or another. Before we get to questions, we want to share our final message to everyone joining us tonight.
Hey, EndCAN, I just want to say, y'all, thank you so much, and I want to give you a shout out for being louder than silence. I love you guys so very much, and keep up what you're keeping up with, and keep doing it.
Hello, it's Jake the Snake Plumber here for EndCAN. Ending child abuse is an achievable goal. We all are here as survivors because everyone is affected by it. Together, let's be louder than silence. Yeah, you heard right. Let's be louder than silence. Silence is good. I'm isolating right now on the lake up in North Idaho, and the silence here is good. But together, let's be louder than silence. And with the National Foundation to End Child Abuse and Neglect, unite your voice and be the change. So check out EndCAN.org. Again, that stands for the National Foundation to End Child Abuse and Neglect. No child needs to be abused, neglected, or left to try to survive on their own. All children need love, care, compassion, and interest from us and everybody. So together, let's end child abuse, and let's make it a goal. Let's set a goal to end child abuse and do our part. Lori Poland, thank you for reaching out to me to send this cameo. EndCAN.org. Go people, go check it out. Go get on there and understand that we all can make a difference. Even just one of us can make a difference. But if you do 1 times 1, that's 1 plus 1 is 2. Times that by 2 is 4. Times that again is 8. Exponentially, let's grow this thing. EndCAN.org. Go check it out, and let's end child abuse and neglect forever. Much love, much peace. Y'all be good. Go Devils.
Well, it's time for the question and answer session. Interestingly, we've gotten a bunch. The first is from someone who said, I want to get involved with speaking out. What can I do? In this coming year, we are beginning our campaign in various cities around the country, and we'll be working with volunteers in those cities, trying to get them to lead change in those cities. At the moment, we've got colleagues in Los Angeles, in Tennessee, Arizona, Illinois, New York, and we're going to look forward to working with people over the course of the next years and trying to build this movement. The next question will be from someone who sent it to Lori.
Great, thank you. So the question that I got is why during a pandemic, while everybody is at home, what is happening to our children? Does child abuse and neglect increase? And as many people understand that because we simply don't talk about child abuse and neglect, we also know that child abuse and neglect occur oftentimes in isolation. And so there are so many children out there today, right now, who are vulnerable and at risk, who are being harmed. The eyes of their teachers and their doctors and their friends families, and really their communities are not there to support, protect, and provide them with a safe, nurturing, and healthy environment. There is a 1-800 number, a nationwide number. It's 1-800-4-A-CHILD that you can call even if you suspect. It is really important that we are all acting on behalf of all of our children, keeping them safe, doing everything that we can to break this cycle, supporting parents because this is stressful. Being an educator at home with our children is really, really stressful. This time is scary, it's unprecedented, and there's a lot of fear of the unknown. So the best thing that we can do for one another is to be supportive, be kind and loving, keep our eyes open, and whenever in doubt, make the call. Thanks.
When you try to do something like eliminate child abuse and neglect in our lifetime, it's perfectly clear that one organization can't do it alone. Over the last few years, we have come together with a lot of national partners, some of whom could also help at this time, because our next question is, where can I go to get help? Help if you're viewing a case or you're a child who worries or is being abused. There is a national hotline. It's been available for almost 40 years now, 1-800-4-A-CHILD. It's been run by Child Help USA, and they do a terrific job in people reaching out to them. We've also partnered with groups like Mental Health America, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, all of whom have some links to the problem of abuse and neglect. And if you are someone who is more comfortable using that as an outlet for the help you need, feel free to call them as well. And finally, if you want to join your voice, check out on the website our change button that says "Be louder than silence." Do we have any more?
Yeah, a couple more. Okay, so the next question is, what does EndCAN need? How can I help? And so we are determined to keep the current funding streams that are already in place. We do not want to impede or impose on any of the minor funding streams that currently exist. It is our job as EndCAN, our focus is to help enhance the existing organizations and programs and prevention models, education and training, as well as any research that's currently being done. We want to enhance those by funding them. And so that is ultimately where our charge of Louder Than Silence is coming from, uniting voices, creating community. It's going to take all of us, and we all have to get in on it. We all have to be a part of the change. So the best way to help would be to go to our website at www.endcan.org. That's ENDCAN. And at the top of your screen, there's a Be the Change. So you can just click on Being the Change, and there's lots of options on different things that you can do. You can sign the pledge, as Ed said earlier. You can volunteer. You can donate. You can even share your story. So thank you so much.
You know, maybe the last thing I would say before we say our thank yous is you always wonder who pays attention to a no-dinner that's virtual. During the last 50 years that I've been here in Colorado, and certainly the last 25, I've had the opportunity to go to about 247 fundraising dinners a night, along with lunches and breakfasts. We did this in part because we wanted to be national, and we're located in one city. And so we gave it a shot. It occurred to me that if you missed anything on this particular video, you can replay it. And with that being the case, I don't know why every fundraising dinner isn't a no dinner, or no lunch, or even a no breakfast. The only thing you really miss, and we do miss this, is the ability to see your friends and be with them. That's why we hope that you were with your friends and or family and whoever you wanted to be with tonight for this event. And if they happen to miss it, replay it for them. We've had a terrific time. Do you have any more questions? Good. Well, we really do appreciate those that shared a cameo with us tonight. And having said thanks, we need to say thanks to Debbie Scheer, Meredith Garofalo, and our EndCAN team, Fortnight Collective for producing our Louder Than Silence and We Are All Survivors videos, to the Conference Experience for helping put on tonight's No Dinner, and to all of our sponsors, many of whom we know, some of whom we really don't know, but we are certainly feeling the love. You want to take the last part of this?
Thank you, sir. And then most of all, we want to take a moment and just thank every one of you for joining us tonight. This has been an incredible experience, very unique for us. I'm sure unique for you as well. We can't thank you all enough for being a part of it, for sharing your voices, for uniting your voices. And then lastly, I want to turn the program back over to our host, Ed Greene. But I especially want to thank Ed for his work and everything that he has done for us tonight and being our MC. So thank you so much, Ed, for being here.
Thank you very much. And I just love all the people that are around here, everybody you've seen on camera, and all the crew as well. I tell you, this has been one remarkable evening. I'm going to kind of wrap up encouraging each of you to be the change, to be louder than silence. Join us. It's going to take all of us joining together to break the cycle of abuse and to better understand it, to prevent and treat it, and to ultimately end it. You can check out the website at www.endcan.org and click on Be the Change by taking the pledge, sharing your story, spreading the word, and subscribing to the newsletter. EndCAN, it's in their name, EndCAN, End Child Abuse and Neglect. Thank you all for being with us tonight. We wish you great health, and please stay safe. Good night.